WeatherWords is a production of The Reporter, Delaware County's leading news source.
Good day to everyone on Thursday the 27th. And looking over my shoulder, you'll notice there's no fog this morning. The reason for that is we haven't reached the dew point. This morning when I went out to do the animals, I knew something wasn't right when my air conditioners turned themselves back on about 1:30 in the morning. And I said, something's happening, I'm not sure what. And then I opened the door and stepped outside, and this was the warmest night we've had the entire summer. We started at 70. That doesn't mean we're going to get terribly hot today, maybe 82 or 83. But the humidity is there, and you're going to step outside and say it feels like it's in the 90s. We're hoping we don't get sun today. And I know that's going to sound strange, but if these clouds disappear, which is a possibility, there's a little bit of high pressure behind all of this, and the sun comes out, then the chances for things turning nasty this afternoon will actually happen. Because the sun's going to create the instability in the atmosphere, and that could even produce small hail like we've had earlier this year. They're talking about winds. They even put a slight risk of tornado in our area with a tornado torcon of 2, I think. As far as I'm concerned, it needs to be 0. I don't want to have any possibility of that. But if the sun comes out, there's a better chance of things being bad this afternoon. They only put a 60% chance of rain this morning. And actually, while I was out doing the cows, I could measure between the raindrops. So when I called in this morning, I had to put a trace. Well, we just had a trace already this morning again, and it seems to have stopped. I mean, I'm hoping maybe to mow the lawn before this stuff gets here this afternoon, because I had too many things to do yesterday. Believe it or not, the National Weather Service showed up yesterday, fine-tuned my equipment, and says, here's your reward for 2 years ago for 25 years of service to the National Weather Service. We weren't allowed to give them out with all that stuff with the pandemic and everything else. So he goes, you've been in service for 27 years, and they're actually thinking of doing something either later this year or next year about the amount of time I've put in and everything else. But anyway, we'll talk about that if it actually happens. But they finally recognized me anyway. So if you remember in the paper where they said there was no accurate weather forecasting and whatever, and I said I've been doing this for 27 years. Yeah, I have. And it's been accurate. But anyway, we had some nice weather where we were in the 70s, and that was wonderful to be outside. But if you look back to this past Monday and what actually happened, the people that got the horrible thunderstorms really got them, okay? I was talking with the person here yesterday from the Weather Service and said several people were talking about microbursts. And she goes, yes, most likely. So the places with all the trees down in the power and everything else, that probably were microbursts. And let's hope that doesn't happen this afternoon. Tomorrow's going to be a really nice day. But then Saturday, expect it to rain all over us again. In fact, that one has an 80 to 90% chance of being wet. So expect that. But then we're going to look forward to next week, because we have 2 or 3, maybe 4 days where we're going to stay in the 70s and low humidity. I can't wait. I mean, it's been the humidity that's been horrible over this whole entire 3 weeks or so. And the temperatures haven't been horrible. I mean, what's 80 degrees? Normally people say, oh, it's 80, good, I'm going to the pool. You step outside, it's 80, and I'm dying out here, it's okay. So when they talk about heat humidity index, they're talking about maybe reaching 100 tomorrow. So if you step out tomorrow and feel like you can't breathe, go back in the house, okay? Also, please remember, don't leave the dogs out or your cats. Make sure there's plenty of water. Same thing for all your farm animals and everything else, because tomorrow could be a rather deadly day. It might be clear and it might be sunny, but it's also going to be horribly humid, and the heat humidity index is 95 to 100. That's a little bit of what they've been experiencing down south and out west. I can't imagine stepping out and having it be 117 and 120. I mean, those people have been dealing with that for weeks. So feel sorry for them, and let's hope we don't get it. Have a good one.
To subscribe or advertise, call 607-464-4009.